dominant in a performance against Phoenix that could be a foreshadowing of an early NBA playoff matchup, early first quarter. That's Andre Drummond. That's Anthony Davis, the big man to the big man, the alley and the oop. Lakers take a 7-0 early lead. Later in the first, still, Lakers up a dozen, and it's Davis working baseline. He had double figures in the first quarter for the first time since his return from injury, and he was just getting started. How about on the defensive end? Jay Crowder, I don't think so, says Anthony Davis, coming up fast from behind and making the block. Davis getting things done on both ends of the court for the Lakers. Later in the second, up by 14. Lakers. Anthony Davis working on Frank Kaminsky. Yes, he had 22 at the break. Lakers up a dozen. Third quarter, the lead is 15. And it's Anthony Davis doing it from the inside. It's Anthony Davis doing it from the outside. Count all three of those. He had 34 in the first three quarters. And he wasn't done. Fourth quarter, Lakers up 10. They still need more. And he's got it. That's Alex Caruso throwing it up, and it's Davis throwing it down. AD, 42 points, 12 rebounds, blocked 3 shots, and the Lakers get a win they needed. AD coming on strong.
Just because we're a lower seed, we're not going to, back down from anybody. We're going to come out and play Lakers basketball, and I think teams know that and feel that as well. What I've seen from LeBron today, he'll be fine. Trust me, he'll be fine.
Well, we will see. They're going to need both ends of that. After last night, they're a single game back of Portland for the 6th spot. Remember, the all-important 6th spot, keep you out of the play-in tournament in the Western Conference. Our analytics still foresee them getting there, winding up there, I should say, a 45% chance that they wind up in the play-in. And so let me bring in my favorite dynamic duo, and that is the big fella Kendrick Perkins and the not quite so big fella Zach Lowe. And let me just start with you, Big Perk, on that. Anthony Davis, is that the formula? Watching him play right now, the way he's getting on a roll, can he be the best player in the Western Conference playoffs this year, Perk?
Yes, he can, G. And look, a healthy Anthony Davis is the best big in the game today. He's so skilled. We haven't seen a guy like him. He's a generational talent. And look, I could get into his offensive package all day long, but I'm going to talk about his effect on the defensive end. Being able to guard 1 through 5s, chase down blocks, anchoring the defense. By the way, DeAndre Ayton had nightmares last night. He was tossing and turning all night. And you take this Anthony Davis with a 75% LeBron James, and they can have a playoff run deeper than the Mississippi River.
That really is the question, Zach. If LeBron comes back and is as close, let me just make it as simple as possible. Are we seeing the formula? Is Anthony Davis good enough to be the best player on a championship team right now?
Yeah, I think so, especially if the second best player in this series is LeBron James. And as Perk said, the entire Western Conference was wide open and uncertain. If they watched that game last night, they're looking around like, uh-oh, everyone kind of forgot about these guys. If these guys are going to play like this, it's trouble. And I'll tell you what, the juiciest game left on the schedule is Phoenix against Portland this week, because if Phoenix goes all out in that game, and I suspect they will, they can try and knock Portland down to 7, let the Lakers get to 6. It's like Phoenix has a chance to almost pick their opponent if things get right for them and knock the Blazers down.
And that's not the team anybody wants to play. But let me just say this. We're all talking about the performance of AD. It happened last night. But yesterday, Zach Lowe, I spent the whole day having people talking to me about the performance of Steph Curry from Saturday night. And that sort of sticks in my head, Zach Lowe, the idea of a one-game single elimination scenario, if you will, against Steph Curry. That's not fun for the Lakers or anybody, Zach.
It's fun for fans. It might outrate all the playoff games, but yeah, that is not fun for the Lakers. Look, the Lakers are better than the Warriors, but I'll tell you this. You look at the Warriors since Wiseman went out, and they're playing more small ball. With Steph and Draymond on the floor, they're +7 per 100 possessions for the season. Even more than that, much more when Wiseman's off the floor. That's the profile of a really good team. It's not just Steph who has gone scorched earth over everybody. It's that they have found an identity again. They make sense. And yeah, you want one game against Steph Curry for your season? No, thank you.
What do you think, Big Perk? That could be the scariest thing the Lakers face the entire way.
Well, Grady, first of all, I'm always jealous of guys that got colorful eyes, just like you and Steph. And you know what? Look, let me say this. Steph Curry is like Michael Myers right now. You do not want to see this guy down a dark alley. He is waiting on everyone. Right now, he's playing the best basketball of his career, and that's crazy to say. We're talking about a two-time MVP. He is zoned out right now, Greeny. And Zach Lowe, I'm agreeing with him today. I'm starting the weekend on a positive, the week off on a positive note. I'm not going to yell and scream. Zach Lowe is absolutely right. Playing Steph Curry for a one-game elimination to the play-in tournament is not something a lot of teams want to see.
It's got to be the scariest thought that they could possibly have. Guys, sit tight with me here as we're going to get started this thing. The playoffs start in a week, and we will need a lot from this dynamic duo. Thank you, fellas. Meanwhile, let's talk about 6-seed Portland with 4 games remaining on the schedule. Our analytics still sees the 7th seed as their most likely finish, a 45% chance to end up in that spot. And here he is, Jay Williams from across the hall, the Jay from KJZ, coast to coast on ESPN Radio. So, if Anthony Davis plays like that, is he enough to carry the Lakers deep into the playoffs if LeBron's ankle just never gets to be 100%?
No. Look, obviously, you need Dennis Schroeder, you need Kyle Kuzma to play at a high level. I was very impressed with the way the Lakers defended last night against the Suns. But you need LeBron James to close the deal. And let's not get things twisted here. It is a win or bust season for the Lakers. That's what you want if you're LeBron James or AD. I think AD can have great performances, but with the depth of the Western Conference, I think it will be challenging for them to go very deep without LeBron James.
Well, look, I mean, let's start with them even getting there in the first place. If everything sort of ended up the way it is right now, they'd be in that play-in tournament. And I will tell you right now, the way Steph Curry is playing, the idea of having to deal with him in a one-game scenario, that might be the scariest possibility the Lakers get the entire way.
That's fine. I'll take if LeBron James and AD are back and Dennis Schroeder is back on the court against Stephen Curry, I will easily take the Lakers. And I'll tell you this, Greeny, if you're the Lakers and you just had a big-time defensive performance last night against the Suns, AD dropped 42 points, no Dennis Schroeder, no Kyle Kuzma. Great. Give me the Phoenix Suns in the first round. Great. You know, Phoenix has always been known for rejuvenating players' careers. Phoenix will rejuvenate LeBron James in the first round of the playoff series, and that will give them the momentum they need going to the next round.
So we're overlooking Steph. We're overlooking the Steph threat factor when right now he's the most exciting show in the sport.
I'm not overlooking it. I'm just stating to you that the threat factor of LeBron James and AD and Dennis Schroeder is way higher than the threat factor of Stephen Curry alone.
All right, so I'm going to ask you the question I feel like I ask you every single day when you're nice enough to come over here at one of your commercial breaks. Lakers are the field in the West right now. Field. I need to see LeBron James. And I'll say this. Watching the Clippers play, with the addition of Rajon Rondo, with the way they play, the Clippers might be the team to beat in the Western Conference. I still need to see Donovan Mitchell come back off the ankle. Granted, Utah is the best team, but Clippers have the star power, and there's that narrative that follows Paul George from last year. They have something to prove.